Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. We're here today with the Greenskins, going to be taking on the Skaven. This is the Game 3 of the first round that I participated in from Shadow Online Gaming's YouTuber tournament. So I'm going to be taking on General Confusion. He's got a mix of stuff on his channel. Does look like some Total War Warhammer, some other things as well, some other games that I'm not super familiar with, but you guys go ahead and check out his channel in the link down below. We've got, Skaven versus Greenskins, so hence the big blob here. Scarsnake has given everyone tricksy traps, although we'll talk more about why this is a mistake in this specific situation in just a minute. I should have waited a little bit longer to pop that, but meanwhile, on top of the hill, we've got some Wolf Rider archers, some more goblins scattered around. We've got, let's see here, Squig Hoppers going to be cutting in on the flanks. Meanwhile, clan rat spears hidden in the woods here. We've got more spears, just regular clan rats actually out here. Plague priest, lots of clan rats, Skaven slaves, no surprises there. 4 units of rat ogres, very good. We've got some rattling gunners, and this Ikit Zap Zap, also very strong. If it hits Skarsnik, then it will, you know, get his ability recharge time down. But you can see why I said it was a mistake to pop that while I was on the bottom of the hill, because I basically was obstructed from missile fire more or less that entire time anyway, and now my units are fully visible as they've come to the top of the hill, and they're going to start taking missile fire. Was kind of trying to get cute with a couple quick charges here, but these Squig Hoppers are going to get absolutely destroyed by rat ogres and, you know, rattling gunner fire and more here, so not the best. We do have the wall pop though, and the trolls and other units are crashing downhill. We're trying to get in on these squishy ranged units as much as possible, obviously. Ikit Claw as well. If we can take him down directly with the trolls, it will be pretty good, but the terror, of course, up from the Doom Wheel is going to be a bit of an issue, especially as Skarsnik is lagging a little bit behind here. We are going to bring in some of the Squig Hoppers to help support this engagement, but you can see, as I said, the terror is an issue for those trolls. Skarsnik just a little bit too far away, and of course Skarsnik himself does anti-large armor piercing and would be relatively decent at taking down Ikit Claw, but just not in the right position there. And yeah, it's not looking good so far. You can see the Greenskins pouring in some fire from the other side, but it's nothing compared to those rattling gunners. I did summon up a Curse of the Bad Moon there, but it wasn't the best contact. Didn't really make contact at all, actually. And yeah, that rattling gunner fire just mowing down those trolls. No surprises, they are running for the hills, and immediately we're going to start to run out of steam. There are a few goblins and so on contesting over here on this flank, but honestly the rat ogres have been able to deal with them relatively successfully, and in very short order this is going to turn into a loss. Now, thankfully, for the sake of the tournament, I will move on anyway, because I went 2-1 in the round, you know, beating Ojira, and then also winning my first game as well. Apologies again, Gojira. But I lost this game. That's fine. Still moved on to the next round, so I'm going to be bringing you guys those games. In fact, we are going to go to the first game from that round right away here. So let's go ahead and just fast forward as we sort of finish out this battle. You can see here just the trolls, oh man, just not able to hold their leadership together. They do try and come back in here to make another push, but the rat ogres able to easily hold them back. The few goblins were able to kind of push up on the flanks here a little bit and do some damage to the rat ogres, but it just really wasn't enough. The Squig Hopper, or sorry, the Night Goblin Shaman as well, trying to take a snipe at Ikit Claw, but Ikit just shrugging off most of the damage there. Again, he did take some damage from the trolls and from Skarsnik, but it just, that overwhelming missile fire and that initial terror route as well, losing a couple of trolls, was very, very painful. So very well played to General Confusion. I'll have, of course, a link to his channel in the description down below. In terms of what I could have done differently, obviously waiting to pop that tricksy traps until I was up on top of the hill and then charging down would have been beneficial. I also got way too aggressive with my Squig Hoppers. I needed to wait on them until I engaged in that frontline engagement. Likewise, it probably wouldn't have been a bad idea, honestly, to cut one of these Wolf Rider archers and just dump some chevrons into these trolls so that their leadership isn't quite so abysmal. That being said, this build is a bit risky, and there are some other things you can do as Greenskins against Skaven that tend to be a little bit safer, but I figured since I had already won the first two, and I didn't necessarily need to win here, we could potentially have some fun and try out something a little bit more experimental. And for the record, I have seen other people use this build, or similar types of builds, more effectively than I did here, certainly, but it just didn't end up working out today. Credit to General Confusion there for playing very well. So let's go on to the next one here. If I can find it, here it is. So now I'm going to be taking on Vulcan HD Gaming. So Vulcan here does a lot of, looks like more modern RTSs on his channel. Steel Division 2, let's see here, what else? Ruse, some other things like that. Games that I'm not too familiar with, but honestly I might be checking out his channel after this because I'm interested in learning more about those games. I just never really watched them myself or played them. But anyway, today in Fantasyland we've got Chaos versus Wood Elves. Big Bird going to be leading the way here. We've got a Manticore up in the air and just a ton of shielded infantry basically. That is more or less the name of the game here. We've got a couple of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. The reason I bring the throwing axes here is, I mean, they're okay against the trees, and specifically the throwing axe cav have shields, whereas the other variants of Marauder Horsemen do not. So it does make them slightly better in this matchup. I don't know, probably not much help, but we've got some Wild Riders pushing out to screen out here. Looks like Eternal Guard with a shield in the front line. Glady up in the air. We've got several groups of Way Watchers here. A Branch Wraith for the caster and Sisters of Thorn. Looks like the Arrows of Kurnos going to be going after Sarthrel. I believe the Arrows of Kurnos does count as a magic damage, and all missile type abilities as well are subject to missile resistance, so both of these resistances would apply in that situation. Similar to spells like Fireball, Shem's Burning Gaze, all of those, both missile resistance and magic resistance apply to them. Any missile type effect does count towards missile resistance, so just a little bit of food for thought there. But anyway, you can see I'm calling down some Searing Doom here on top of these Way Watchers. Basically the idea is just to keep them disrupted while we kind of get an envelopment here. On this side, the Sarthrel is going to come in, just deal some magic damage and some terror to try and break up some of these units. Glady's going to pin him in place just so that he can't run around too much. But meanwhile, over on the other side, you can see we're just pushing through with superior numbers of infantry. Because there's a lot that's been spent on Way Watchers here, that means I've got just tons of numbers of infantry to push through here. And, you know, we've got shielded Chaos infantry of every variety fighting in here. And I guess technically not aspiring champions, but whatever. We've got Chaos Warriors, Chosen, and Marauders all fighting. That Transmutation of Lead as well will nerf the Elves' attack stats heavily and allow me to win pretty easily with relatively few losses. Over here, a really nice Breath Attack comes in and just devastates my blob of Marauder Horsemen. They're probably all going to rout off after that. Yep, looks like all three break there. So a little bit of a dicey situation, especially if the Glady decides to try and dive Sarthrel and take him out in melee, which it looks like she's maybe going to try and do, or perhaps terrify away some of these Marauders, which they do almost immediately get terrified away there. So yeah, the Azrai Spear look like they might be trying to pursue Sarthrel there, but we'll see. I've got some more Hounds on station just to kind of try and protect here, but the Manticore have been doing a great job disrupting in the backline, but now going to get enraged and probably taken out by missile fire here. We'll see. Thankfully, at this point, a lot of those infantry have finally started to push through in a position to kind of occupy this backline space. And oh man, that's heavy metal right there. Those Shielded Chosen just soaking that missile fire there. Shielded Chosen actually have the highest base missile block chance of any infantry unit, 60%, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Like even regular Chaos Warriors, most units with silver shields only have 55%. So Chosen are really, I mean, the cream of the crop in terms of just blocking missiles with their shields, and obviously that comes into play here. Not to mention their very high melee defense. The fact that they are relatively cheap as well means they're very cost effective here. Top-down Breath Attack just wrecks those Marauders. Maybe the Glady was going to drop down there, but Yeah, at this point, things are not looking too great for the Wood Elves. A lot of resources have been pushed off here, and these Way Watchers just haven't been able to get set and get firing. They're just getting ground down now by Chosen. The Feral Manticore, while it did take quite a bit of damage, again, still just disrupting, which is really the reason you bring it here. May not honestly do that much damage at the end of the day, but if you can at least just have it hanging around, distracting, you know, your opponent has to commit resources to try and deal with it. So it's, yeah, just not the best situation, but these Way Watchers running away from the Mirror Guard through the woods here. That's a pretty hilarious scene right there. But yeah, Sisters of Thorn going to be holding up a few hounds here. I say a few hounds. There's basically a full unit of Poison Warhounds there, and pretty much everything's been broken at this point. Besides the Glady, she is still relatively healthy up on her dragon. But yeah, all of this Chaos Infantry just pounded through what was there for the Wood Elves. So yeah, essentially mission accomplished. Just needed to keep the Way Watchers busy enough to grind through that front line, and then there wasn't really going to be much left to protect. I mean, even with that front line that he had, it was still going to be tough to protect just because I had so many infantry units on the field. You know, he just didn't have the numbers to really hold back that massive wave of infantry, so he would have needed to try and get like a very decisive break on one side, like chase a bunch of units off. But it's just kind of a tough situation, especially when you're outnumbered like that pretty considerably. I mean, if we look at here, yeah, he only deployed about 500, almost 600 unit models. But still, compare that to my, you know, 960, and just the fact that I had more units on the table meant that I was able to kind of get, you know, surround situations and get sort of a defeat in detail, kind of out-resource him in specific areas of the battlefield. So yeah, at the end of the day, though, very well played to both General Confusion and Vulcan HD Gaming. I'm going to be bringing you guys a couple more replays in separate videos from this. I did have a game against Turin, so get hyped for that. We had an epic showdown, and I also had one against Wyvern, well known within the community also. So look forward to both of those. I'll be bringing those shortly. As for this one, it's just a matter of time before the Branch Wraith and the Glady give up the fight. Credit to the Branch Wraith here. He's somehow still fighting in this giant mess, giving that nice little melee attack buff probably to the Glady, but still not going to be enough to get this battle back. So yeah, we'll fast forward through the end there, and that will be game. So, well played to both my opponents. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that double tournament cast there. Big thanks to Shadow once again for hosting the tournament. Of course, link to his channel in the description below. If you guys want to watch just all of the games from the tournament, feel free to check it out. There are a lot of beloved community members, you know, Janet on occasion, Professor Pone, of course, Turin, a number of other well-known community members taking part in the tournament. So be sure to check it out. Thanks again. If you guys like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. If you want to support me in a more personal way, be sure to check out the Patreon page or become a channel member here on YouTube. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.